everyone and welcome to it. Welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name's Alexa, and for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my entire book collection. Long story short, I started my book collection about a year ago. It was about this time a year ago I started collecting books. Before that, I actually just read books on my iPad or like my computer. I just thought it was easier and I didn't really have room for books, so I read them on my iPad. But I wound up going to Barnes & Noble just to like look around and see if I could find this one book that I couldn't find on my Kindle app. I don't know what happened that day, but once I bought like one book, I was like, I can't stop. So here we are, a year later. My book collection it's growing, okay? We're getting there. I am so excited to share with you all my books that I have collected over the past year. I'm also going to be sharing with you my to-be read list for the new year because there's some books in here that I haven't read yet and they've been here for a while. You ever find a book and you're like,
oh, I really want this. Like, it looks so good, it sounds so good,
I'm gonna pick it up and read it later. And then you don't read it for like a whole year? Yeah. That's literally me. I'm really excited to share these books with you, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
I'm so excited.
I recently got new glasses.
Who is she?
Harry Potter or Cute Librarian? We're gonna start with a pile of books in my library that I have read, and then we're gonna go into books I haven't read and that are on my to-be read list for 2022. So the first book I have here is none other, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. If you haven't read anything by Jane Austen, you're missing out. This one obviously is a classic though. It's one of my favorites. I feel like after reading this book, I like ruined my life. Expectations, they're all the way up here now after reading about Mr. Darcy. The next book I have here, 50 Shades of Grey. Christian Grey is some multi-millionaire guy who falls in love with Anastasia Steele. Christian basically throws all his money at her. They go on these extravagant dates and all this stuff. Parts of it I'm obviously not going to talk about. If you have seen the films or read this,
you know why.
Obviously it's a good book if they made movies out of it and the movies did well. It just might not be for everybody. The next book I have is How Lovely the Ruins. It's basically one of those self-help books. There's just a bunch of poems and little writings in there to like make you feel better when you're feeling down. Keep going, never give up, stuff like that. This is a really beautiful book. I do really love this. Inspirational poems and words for difficult times. The next book I have is Virgin River by Robin Carr. I actually picked this book up after Virgin River aired on Netflix. If you don't know, it is a Netflix series. It is so good. Yes, you should go watch it right now. Run, don't walk. It is so good. They just released season 3. Books are always better than the TV shows and the movies. It's so true. There's so much more detail in the books than they put in the TV shows. It kind of brings everything together and makes you understand it better. Basically, this nurse named Mel, she moves to Virgin River after a devastating accident takes place. She becomes like the town nurse and she slowly starts like intertwining with all the other people of Virgin River because it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody looks out for everybody. There's a love interest. His name is Jack. Jack owns the bar in Virgin River that everybody goes to, and that is where Mel meets Jack. A lot of crazy things are thrown their way. This is a really, really good book. It definitely tugs at your heartstrings, but I think there's a lot of character development in it, especially for both Mel and Jack. There's other books after this one that focus on everyone's relationships in Virgin River. The show on Netflix focuses on all of the relationships at once, or like they try to at least, but the books kind of go one by one. So the first one is mostly around Mel and Jack. I probably give it like a 4 out of 5. I just really love the story. The next book we have here is You Are a Badass. This is one of those books that I feel like everyone has seen everywhere. This is more like life coaching and how to live your best life, be your best self, be successful. I think it's really beneficial if you are in a slump or something. I found it really helpful to read this when I was like finishing up college. A lot of like personal growth tips in this book basically. The next book I have Guys, you already know this is like a 6 out of 5 star book because if you've been around for a while, I have talked about Anna and the French Kiss. Any opportunity I get, I talk about this book. This is the 10th anniversary edition. Look at these pages. It's a beautiful book if you want like a cheesy, corny read that makes you feel really good inside, makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. It's definitely this book. I literally read it in one day because I could not put it down. So these next 2 books I have, we know these books. We know this author. We know Nicholas Sparks. These are like the love stories, okay? The love stories. The next book we have is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is another great classic book. I originally saw the movie when it came out back in 2010, I think. Huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan. I love the movie. I thought it was really great. So I really wanted to try the book out. I was really surprised at how short the book is. Like it's a small book, guys.
I feel like it's just never enough for Daisy.
The next 2 books I have are actually just short little poem books. Milk and Honey, it has always been hyped up. It's split up into 4 parts: the hurting, the loving, the breaking, and the healing. It goes through all the stages of a relationship, and at the end it gives you the healing. This other one is kind of dirty. I don't know why it's so dirty. This is called Flux. It's just another cute aesthetic poem book on relationships, falling in love, how it doesn't work sometimes, healing, and everything in between. They are both really great poetry books. If you really enjoy poetry, these are really beautiful. The next book I have is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem. This is by Amanda Collins. Amanda Collins is a really great author. I see a lot of people who hype her up and really enjoy her writing. I personally really enjoy her writing. I haven't finished this book entirely. It's one that I've kind of gone into and read, then I'll leave it for a while, then I'll go back and read it. It's about a woman who is a writer. She tries to write for the paper and stuff like that, but she winds up getting herself caught in the middle of a crime, not even just once, but multiple times, so kind of fishy. Anyways, the detective who is assigned to these crimes suspects her as being like the person to blame. It's definitely one of those hate to love type of romances. The next book I have here and that I have read, of course, To All the Boys I Have Loved Before. So corny, so freaking cheesy. I love it. I love corny and cheesy read. Basically writes letters to all the boys that she's loved before. Her sister, her little sister, mails them out. She mails the letters out, so all of Laura Jean's boys that she's loved before gets these letters from her confessing her love. Starts up a whole crazy thing, big dilemma for her. Really cute love story in here. Fake dating to lovers trope. The next book we have, Bridgerton. Okay, this is everything. So I originally saw the Netflix series of it. It is one of my favorite stories. This is a really, really good read. They go from hating each other to loving each other to fake dating or fake courting, as they used to call it back then. It is scandalous. It is drama everywhere. Drama everywhere. It is amazing. I definitely recommend this. Remember earlier when I told you you should read anything by Jane Austen? This is literally a collection of 4 of her best books.
Are you kidding me?
Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, which we already talked about. Emma and Persuasion. 4 elegant, witty, and sophisticated novels concerned with class, society, and romance. This is just the English major in me coming out. This is a William Shakespeare book. And in this book contains every single one of his plays. This is what it looks like. It's the plays. It's just interesting to go through and kind of pick the plays apart, pick his like mind apart. It's cool. It's really cool. Again, this was $8 from Barnes & Noble and it's all of his works. Okay, we know what these are, right? I mean, it's Harry Potter. If you don't know what this is, I'm so sorry, but you're living under a rock. I will say my favorite is probably between 3 and 4. I really love The Prisoner of Azkaban because I love when Sirius Black comes into it. I think it's so cool when he comes into it. I really love the story. I also really love 4 though, which is The Goblet of Fire, because I enjoy when the schools all come together to compete for the cup. We love it. We love Harry Potter here. We're now gonna jump into my 2022 to be read list. These are all the books. I mean, it's really not that many. I feel like this is something I could get through like within the first 6 months of the year. This is the sequel to Bridgerton. It's The Viscount Who Loved Me, and it focuses on the eldest Bridgerton brother, Anthony Bridgerton. He's like a bad boy, you know, he doesn't care. So this focuses on Anthony finding a lover, which is Kate. I'm so excited to read this. I definitely have to read this before I see season 2, which comes out in March, I think.
I can tell it's gonna be spicy.
The next book we have here is actually a new one I just got. It's Love and Gelato. It's basically a love story that takes place in Italy. This girl goes to Italy to basically reconnect with her father, who she hasn't seen her whole life. Along the way, she falls in love, obviously. I love the cover. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It's a really pretty cover.
It's cute. I vibe with it.
The next one is also a new one I just picked up. It's The Cruel Prince. This is something I've seen all over TikTok, all over YouTube. I'm excited to read this. It seems like I hate everyone but you type of thing. Next one I have is Midnight Sun. This is the next book in the Twilight Saga. Oh my gosh. From Edward's point of view, which I think is going to be
so funny.
The next book I have, so beautiful, guys. It's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her horrible bargain, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to be lived, and she is determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide, beckoning world. It will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name, and suddenly everything changes again. So next we have Untamed by Glennon Doyle. This is another self-help inspirational read. It's like a woman empowerment read, and we love that. We love that. The next book we have is People We Meet on Vacation. This I've actually read like halfway through, and then I just haven't finished it yet. Story about Poppy and Alex. You know, they go on vacation, they're best friends. Something scandalous happens, and when they leave, everything kind of changes. So it's basically a love story between two best friends and how they evolve and grow. This is The Song of Achilles. It's definitely one that's at the top of my list to read this year. Really excited to read this because, again, I hear incredible things about it. The next book we have is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I am so excited. This is actually the next book I am reading. I feel like I don't even have to say a lot about this because everyone in the world has read it besides me. Definitely a Bridgerton vibe book. It's called Mr. Malcolm's List. It definitely seems like a hate to love type of romance. Mr. Malcolm has this long list of qualifications a woman has to have, but the girl who catches his eye also has a list. The last book I have on my to be read list is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah Moss. This is another TikTok read type of book. I'm excited to jump in. This is definitely like a sci-fi fantasy book. I'm excited about this series. I hear a lot of good things about it. Okay, guys, that is it. We went through my entire bookshelf, basically. I'm definitely excited to grow my collection more in 2022. Definitely stay tuned for a lot of bookstore vlogs, a lot of reading vlogs. I'm actually preparing to film my first ever reading vlog. I'm so excited. I think at the end of the year we'll do an updated bookshelf tour and see how much my collection has grown, see how my to be read list is going. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead, I'll wait. Go like the video, and don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'd really love to have you a part of the channel. I upload weekly, guys, so it's free entertainment every week. You might as well subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.